I would want to introduce myself to you all. My name is Bless Belinda Ahiakunu. I'm admin and HR assistant working with WAXI here. And I'm very proud and happy to be your moderator for this webinar. Okay, so on that note, I would want to zoom in straight to our ground rules so that we can have a very smooth webinar today. So kindly let us all mute our mics while the session is in progress. Please keep your camera off so that we can save some bandwidth, we can have some internet stability. So those of you who have your cameras on, kindly do us the honors and turn off your cameras for us so we can have some internet stability. Thank you so much for doing that for us in advance. Also, if you have questions, if you have comments, anything you need clarifications on, kindly drop them in the chat box and we would address them accordingly. If you lose your internet connection in the process, please reconnect using the link that has been emailed to you. And then finally, there will be a participation form that will be dropped in the chat box. Kindly fill out the participation form with your details for us. It would enable us to share the recording and other useful resources pertaining to this webinar to you so that you can always do a reference anytime you need any information concerning this webinar. I believe I have made myself clear with these ground rules, and I want to thank you in advance for adhering to these ground rules. So please turn off your cameras for us. Michael Awenya and Sylvester Egu, kindly turn off your camera for us. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for doing that. Okay, so without wasting much time, I would want us to zoom into the business of the day. As we all know, we live in a technological era, and we believe that it is very important for us to learn about some of the digital tools we need to leverage on for effective project management. Hence the need for this webinar And so without wasting much time, I would want to introduce our facilitator for this webinar in the presence of Mr. Kwame Asante. And Mr. Kwame Asante is a Marketing and IT Support Officer with WAXI. Kwame is an experienced IT consultant who has managed several IT projects. His expertise spans across web development, cybersecurity, digital marketing, cloud solutions, brand management, database development and management. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you your facilitator for this webinar, Mr. Kwame Asante. Mr. Kwame Asante, over to you.
Thank you so much, Bless, and a warm welcome to each and every one of you joining us this afternoon all over West Africa and beyond. It is always a delight to come your way, as I always say, to let us discuss and to learn from each other on various technological interventions, tools, and also knowledge that exists for us to use as non-profit organizations. And today, I'm particularly excited because we are going to take a look at a very important aspect of the work that we do as non-profit organizations. That is how we can leverage technological tools to ensure that our projects are managed effectively. Now, I know that as non-profit organizations, we cannot do without projects. In other words, our works evolves around projects. So we are running various projects, throughout the year. So it is very important that these projects are run efficiently and effectively. And we know that there are compliance issues, there are reporting issues that we need to always meet their targets, and then their expected results that comes with those targets. So it is very, very important that we are able to manage our projects effectively. Now, I know that most of us here, because of the projects that we run, we have a lot of experiences in the projects that we run. So this particular session is not going to take the regular feeding, one-way feeding of information from me to you. But at some point, I would love for some of you here to share your perspective so that we can all learn from the knowledge that you have acquired in managing your projects. As Bless has already said, we want to share the recording of this webinar with you. So there's a participation form that is going to be shared in the chat. So if you can head straight to the chat, you will see a participation form there. Kindly click on it and provide us with some few details of yourself and a contact email that we can use to share not only this recording, but also the various technology incentives and tools that we have to offer and that we come across that we feel may be of use and help to you. So please head to the chat and click on the form and fill it for us. Please, let's do that in the next 1 minute so that we can zoom in on to today's business. If you are joining us now, we want to welcome you once again. Today's topic, as is on the screen, is digital tools for effective nonprofit management, project management. So please, let's fill the form as we begin the session in the next 30 seconds. Thank you for doing so. Okay. I hope we have all filled the form. The link is in the chat. So if you have not done that for the last time, kindly head there and fill the form for us. Thank you. Okay, so before we continue, I would like us to go through some objectives. And even as we do so, if you have expectations for this session, you can kindly place them in the chat. But today, what we are going to look at, what we are going to discuss, we are anticipating that at the end of the day, we will understand the benefits of digital tools in project management. We are also looking to identify the relevant digital tools that we can use to manage our projects. And then we also will learn how to use some of these tools. We will look at one of the tools that can help us to manage our projects effectively. So we'll do a demo session on how to use this particular tool so that at least once we leave here, we will have some hands-on skill that we can adopt in the management of our projects. Okay, yeah, so I know that most of us handle a lot of projects in our various organizations. And I would love to hear from us our understanding of project management. You can put it in the chat, what you understand by project management. Anything that comes to mind. You have been running projects, for a very long time, but what really is project management? What does that mean to you? If you have any idea, you can kindly put it in the chat for us. And we want to make this session very interactive, so you can also raise your hand and we will allow you to open your microphone and share some thoughts. So if you have any thoughts to share, kindly do so by placing them in the chat. What comes to mind when we mention project management? What do you understand by that? Anyone? Anyone? I hope you can all hear me though. Okay, so I have some hits. Okay, project management is effective and efficient supervision of a given task. Thank you, TechnoSpark. Osman from GDCA is saying coordination and organization of human and materials to accomplish a goal in a given time. That is great. And then Toby is also saying coordination, overseeing, providing effective support, and supervising projects to ensure goals are met. Thank you very much, Toby. And then Peace Ezekiel Oriaku is saying the ability to handle a project from start to finish. That is also very good. And I have a lengthy one from Elish Tete. Project management is the application of processes, methods, skills, knowledge, and experience to achieve specific project objectives according to the project acceptance criteria within agreed parameters. That is good. This is the steps and procedures we use to make sure that a project is successful and meets customer satisfaction. And lastly, from Yovi, is a process that involves the effective and judicious use of both human and material resources within a given period. All these are very great explanations and definitions of what a project management is. And so it tells us that, yes, most of us do understand what project management is. And to make it more specific or relatable to us in the nonprofit sector, if we say what is nonprofit project management, is basically all what has been said being implemented or being undertaken by a nonprofit organization. So we can summarize it by saying that it is the process of planning, executing, and monitoring projects for nonprofit organizations. And that can be safely said to be nonprofit project management. Now, in terms of what project management we know on a global spectrum, and then nonprofit project management, how different are they? How different? How does nonprofit management differ from for-profit project management or any other regular project management that we may think of? Are there any differences at all? Are there any differences at all? And I would love to hear from someone who has managed projects in another sector and also managed projects in nonprofit sector. If you can share some perspectives on some of the differences, if there are any, so to say, if there are any. And I will encourage us to also try and speak up. You can raise your hand and we will allow you to unmute yourself so that you can contribute. Because we want to have a discussion. I know a lot of us have experiences and perspectives that will benefit everyone here. So you can kindly raise your hand if you can help us share some perspectives on differences between nonprofit project management and other project management. And great, I have Project Africa. Can you unmute yourself, Project Africa?
Long time ago, I hear you.
Yeah, hello. Hello, good afternoon. I am John Alpha from Liberia. I'm working with Project Africa. So in line with the question tone, my own contribution is that non-profit project management is different from profit project management in a very significant way. For non-profit, it has a social mission, while the profit has an aim to offer products and services that are available for customers and consumers. So that's my own contribution. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, Joseph, you can go.
Okay. For me, the main difference centers around the outcome. while non-profits focus mainly on impact, conventional project management focuses more on about delivery of let me say or project completion. And what do I mean by that? In non-profit, for instance, it's not just enough to build a house, but also part of the deliveries would also be the change, the social change that house would bring about within a given society. That's for me basically what I would say, and I align with the earlier submission that while non-profit management most times focuses more on tangible or intangible assets, that of non-profit management looks at social change management generally. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Kitan, can you unmute yourself and share with us? Kitan Bankole. Okay, so Kitan is not ready. We will move to Imwabong Jacob.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Imwabong Jacob from Nigeria.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so non-profit management is a pro-fast solution to the societal problems, while the other project management focuses on profit maximization or wealth accumulation.
Thank you. That is very insightful. Oluwaseun Akindoro, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Oluwaseun Samo from Nigeria. So non-profit project management requires a unique set of skills and approaches that are actually focused on achieving social impact, building relationships with stakeholders, managing resources effectively. And non-profit project management actually focus on mainly five can actually be channeled to five directions: goals, stakeholders, funding, because they actually get involved more into social impact, and accountability and evaluation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Oluwaseun. I'll take the last two. Felix. Yes, Felix, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Felix from Kenya. For me, I believe that in non-profit management, typically it entails the ownership by the community, and when it comes to its fundraising system, it needs a report to show that the benefit is helping the community compared to the other form of management. So it is focusing on the accountability part and also the legal structure that builds the society. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Felix. And lastly, I will take Ranti Ogun-Grinade. Please unmute yourself. Ranti? Okay, then let me take Adamu and then we can continue. Adamu, unmute yourself.
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. From my own perspective, the profit project management, those that they align with the profit making, of which their service is restricted to those that in need and those that they have the means to engage them, while the non-profit are those that their services is for vulnerable communities or vulnerable individuals who are in need, but they don't have access to get privilege or chance to get access to that. So they are solely for non-profit, They are there that they give free services in terms of education and the rest of the services where vulnerable communities or people that are affected with conflict or crisis, while the profit are restricted to those in need and those that they have the means to engage them. Thank you, Oba.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you. Every submission that has been given has done justice to the differences between non-profit project management and for-profit project management. So from all what has been said, some of the key elements that I believe everyone has gotten has got to do with, number one, the goal of the project. For non-profit organizations, we know that our goals are mostly around trying to achieve social or community impact, to better the lives of the community, to better the lives of individuals or the society as a whole. So rightly mentioned earlier, the goal of the project is something that distinguishes between the non-profit project and a for-profit one. And also, non-profit projects have stakeholders that we place premium on. And our stakeholders can be diverse, and they can include donors, volunteers, beneficiaries, even community leaders. So these are groups or individuals that we need to manage. And it requires a high level of some skill, in terms of reporting, communicating to them, and what have you. So this is also one other key element. And then when it comes to nonprofit, you know that most of our work requires funding, or should I say donor funding. And so we typically run our projects from grants, from donations, from charitable givings, and as opposed to a for-profit project management that could, be about a project that is from a revenue-driven, source, for instance. One other thing is also about governance. Nonprofits have board of directors that provide oversight, that provide strategic direction. And so there's this also obligation for us to report or be accountable. So I remember the issue of accountability was also mentioned, and this justifies that. And the last thing we can look at here is also on metrics. And because of what we do, we tend to measure the metrics of the results that we have achieved. So we look at the area of intervention that we are trying to run the project on, and then we can measure the success rate of that particular project. And maybe one last one is on regulations. Nonprofits are subject to different kinds of regulations and requirements that differ from what a for-profit company or organization may go through. Now, having identified or having seen the uniqueness of nonprofit project management, what are some of the challenges that we go through? And I believe that most of us here in running our day-to-day project management or projects, we go through a lot of challenges. So this one, I would love if we could just, in just a few words, you can put something in the chat, some of the challenges that you go through when you are running your projects. What are some of the challenges you encounter? And the first challenge I'm seeing here is funding. And I believe it's something that the second is funding as well. It's a very important factor or challenge that we go through. I can see environmental factors, access to quality data, balancing donor expectations in comparison to community needs. Very, very important point. Access to grants, still on funding, inadequate human resource, community engagement, interference from community, excessive tax from government, capacity, funding target groups, environmental, economical. Yes, and if you study all these challenges, it seems it cuts across, especially in our region, West Africa and beyond, even looking at Africa as a whole. All of these challenges are similar from country to country. So I see more capacity building, inadequate skills and knowledge, access to communities, commitment of personnel, organizational interest, government policies, stakeholders' interest versus community interests, non-profit projects target a section of the population that are vulnerable, while for-profit target a segment that have the ability to pay. Frequent changes in government policy, capacity challenges, and all of these challenges that are being listed here are very, very, very similar, like I already said. And so, yes, as you would always have it either at the top of the list or somewhere close to the top, is the challenge of how we secure funding. It is very, very, very important because, as I have mentioned earlier, our projects are funded from grants, from donors, and so sometimes trying to get access to these funding sources becomes an issue. And so it is one of the most serious challenges that we face. The second challenge is managing stakeholder expectations, as have been mentioned a couple of times by colleagues here. It's also one very, very important challenge that we encounter, managing stakeholder expectations, and then alignment with organizations' mission and values, because we all have our missions, we all have our values, we all have our visions. Sometimes in managing your projects, you would realize that there are some expectations that may not align to your organization's mission. And here lies the case, you are in a fix, you have to get this done. And so what do you do in that kind of case? It makes it somewhat challenging for you to be able to deliver your project. And then managing volunteers. It was mentioned earlier that nonprofits sometimes do not have adequate staff to help them to manage or to execute their project. And so we tend to fall on volunteers. And, when you are dealing with volunteers, there is only a level that you can, hold them accountable, if I can put it that way. And so it makes it quite challenging when you are demanding more from them as you could demand from a full-time employee in your organization. So that is also one of the challenges that nonprofits can face with regards to managing their projects. Now, having looked at the challenges, does that mean that, it is always a dark intervention or a dark venture for us in terms of managing projects? And so let us look at some opportunities that also, nonprofit experience when it comes to project management, particularly in the usage of digital tools. Now, when you use digital tools, it helps you to streamline your processes. It helps you to eliminate redundant tasks. It helps you in reporting, and putting all of this together, it is going to increase your efficiency for the projects that you are managing. The next one is on communication, which is very, very, very important, because in managing your projects, you tend to communicate with your project team. You tend to communicate with stakeholders outside your project team, like your donors, like your governance board. You tend to communicate with vendors that you are, assigning tasks to. And so leveraging digital tools to achieve this can really go a long way to have a positive impact on your projects. Also, we normally complain, or we normally are faced with issues of limited resources. And so with the use of some digital tools, you are able to better manage your resources. You are able to assign resources where they are needed. You are able to manage and monitor resources as and when they are being used, where there may be a lack that you need to intervene, and more into that. Now, we also are able to account effectively if we leverage digital tools, because we are able to establish timelines using these digital tools. We are also able to establish milestones, and we have regular measuring processes when we leverage these digital tools. And then there is always greater impact because the digital tools that we use can help us make a positive impact on our communities by ensuring that projects are well planned, executed, and evaluated. So you can have tools that you would use to monitor and evaluate your projects. And these are opportunities that nonprofits can always enjoy when we use digital tools. So these were just introductions of digital tools that we intend to learn about, the benefits of it, the importance of it, even in the management of our projects. So having gone through this overview, we are now going to look at some digital tools for our projects. Now, it has been said already, but let me reiterate that in this era of technology, it is almost impossible to run your projects without one or two digital tools. I do not know of any organization that successfully runs their projects without using technology at all. Please, if you have been able to do something like that, kindly let us know about it in the chat. We would love to learn how you did it. But it's almost inevitable that in this day and age, you can run a full-scale project without leveraging digital or technological tools. And so these technological tools spans across a lot of needs, depending on what you want to use them to do. And so we are going to look at some of them here. And what I have shown on the screen, I know most of us have used them or you have encountered them one way or the other. And so I would love at this point to hear from you. If you have used any of the tools here, you can just write it in the chat for me, any of the tools that is being shown. If you have used any of the tools, you can just put it in the chat. Okay, Project Africa has used Google Docs. Okay, and Slack from Nanado. Okay. There are quite a number of tools here, and I believe you have used either one of them. So please, you can paste them in the chat. Okay, Ezekiel has used Google, Microsoft Word, and Zoom. If not for anything, we are using Zoom for this meeting, so definitely. Okay, yes, that's great. Benny says she has used all except Asana and GeoMeeting. Okay, so anyone here that wants to share, on any of the tools that have been shown here, if you have any experience using them to manage a project, any project that you have managed in recent times that you want to share with us, what exactly you use that tool for in your project, because we know that project has different phases. So we have collaboration, we have communication, we have project management itself. And so which aspect of your project and which tool did you use for that? You can kindly raise your hand. I'll allow you to unmute and you share that. Okay, Project Africa. Yes, you can unmute and share with us.
Once more, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, regarding the office tool, I've used Google Form.
Okay.
And I have a project that I want to launch that was my passion by then when I was in Sierra Leone, but I want to host it online. So I was looking which one of the software will I use to create an online form for registration that applicant can be registering online. So I come across Google Form in 2020, I think 2021, yes, 2021 around January. So I was there, I go to YouTube, I watch videos how to do it, and I did it and it was successful. So I was like, I can post a form online now, people can apply, and I was glad. And also I use Google Spreadsheet as well in making some of my spreadsheets for my organization as well. Obviously, the communication aspect, I use all of these. I use WhatsApp, Skype, Zoom, and as well. They've been helping me great.
Okay, thank you so much. Rioba, kindly unmute and share with us.
Hi, so I have used Asana before, and I've used it both as a contributor to a project as well as a manager for a project. Basically, what I used it for as a contributor is in response to tasks that had been assigned for me for the particular project, because we were coordinating people from different continents. And then as a manager, I've used it to, one, share my, come up with a work plan, also delegate different tasks to different people, communicate, because in some way it still has the aspect of communication with people within that same framework. You're able to see the tasks you finished as well as those that others have finished. So basically it's a working office on its own in terms of communication, work plans, collaboration, and assignment of tasks.
Oh, okay, that is really insightful. Yes, so Asana, you mentioned, that is really, really great. So you used it for project management, you used it to deliver tasks that were assigned to you, and then you're able to also communicate within that same environment. And then you also were able to assign tasks to your colleagues and check on timelines and all of that. That is really helpful. And thank you very much, Rioba. Peace Ezekiel Oriaku, kindly unmute and share with us.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you, please.
Okay, good afternoon. For the Office tool, I've actually used the Google form and the Office 365. I've used the Google Doc exactly to generate questionnaire, also analyze, and be able to use that for a project and a research. So majorly, instead of going to the field, you can actually sit in your home, share the form, and people can fill in, and then sharing the link, you can get your question back, and it helps you to analyze your document in a graphic way that is easier than you using Excel sheets to do that. And for the communication part, I've used all the communication tool, but I've not used Asana. I think I'll try the Asana and Slack. I've used G Suite. I've used Office 365. I think all these tools are very important for our projects. Nobody can do without any of these technological tools. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any of these tools are very important and critical for the management of our projects. I like that. And you mentioned that you could be at one place and you just had to share a link with people so that they can provide information. So yes, I mean, you do not have to physically go to a place in order to get information. If your project involves going around and collecting data, sometimes you can just create a collection stream and then you can share it across. This can also even help you to get more rich than having to go to places individually to get the data that you are looking for. So thank you very much, Peace. And Dennis, you can unmute and share with us.
So good afternoon.
Dennis.
All right, thank you for the lateness. I was like busy doing some other things, but it's good I'm in. Well, when it comes to tools that we at Yale Library have used all the time, they have not really been an advanced tools, and that we wish to learn more from others to assist us in developing some things. What we have gone through or used have been much of a Microsoft Office. We have also used the Drive, where we normally save our document. And we also make use of the Zoom. We are doing a project for the European Union through UNIDO, the United Nations Industrial Organization, that has to do with awareness on technical vocational education. And during our first interaction with them, we use the Zoom meeting app where we have the project inception meeting. And it was like majority of my staff, they don't have access to it, so I had to tutor them to it. And in making our report, we also use a Drive where we provided link for all of the audio that we gathered during the stakeholder meetings, the youth engagement meetings, and where the link was shared with the partners in our final report. So, but the rest of them, they are quite being not friendly with it, but we hope to learn from others in terms of our using it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to you too for sharing such great insights with us, Dennis. We are most grateful. And yes, let me read a couple of contributions from colleagues. Benis Dogbe says we use Zoom for weekly meetings and Drive and Docs for keeping all team members up to date on project progress. We are all on Office 365. Yes, so your first point, exactly like Dennis's, for the meetings using Zoom, and then Drive and Docs. Phenomenal. I mean, you can store your files, share with colleagues, you can collaborate at the same time, and this can help you to meet your project deadlines. I also have Mamadou Jalo from Gambia saying Google Spreadsheet is my pick for project works. And then I also have Cabinet Moses from Sierra Leone. Okay, Cabinet is just using us. There's another tool called Kobo Collect, which is for monitoring activities on the field. Emanuela from Glodep, we would love to hear about Kobo Collect. If you can tell us about it, we would really love that. If you don't mind sharing just some few information on that for us, Emanuela. Okay, so kindly let us know if you can share, or anyone at all. If there is a particular, hi.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, Crystal, we can hear you.
So this is Emanuela Glode.
Great, Emanuela.
Yes. So somewhere last year, we got the opportunity to, hello?
Hi, yes.
Yeah, we got the opportunity to work for a donor. And as part of their requirements, we had to be on a digital tool, which is the Kobo Collect. So it works such that whilst you're on the field doing your activity, you are keying in all the plans, all the things you are doing, including your outcome, the number of attendance and everything. And once you are done, the digital tool captures your GPS address such that the moment you send it, it goes directly to the donor's office where they can monitor you even before your activity report drops. They already know that you went to field on this day at this location and all that, just to check consistency, you know. So it has been effective, and it has also been putting us on check so that you don't deviate from your, your actual implementation plan. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Emanuela. Yes, I think I get a sense of that. It's good for accountability and also for monitoring, which are key elements in project management. So thank you for sharing. And please, colleagues, I would like to, request of us that we pay attention to some of these tools, because it is the first step of actually to know the project management tools that exist so that you can make a move to get them. So these perspectives that we are sharing here is very important, so that you would know the right tools that can help you in your project management. I still have a couple of comments here. I'll be moving on to look at some of their tools pretty shortly. But I have Candlelight Foundation saying for Office tool, they use Google Docs and Office 365. And then for storage is Google Drive and OneDrive. Communication is on WhatsApp, and then collaboration still on Office 365. And yes, a couple. I also have Bernard, who uses TaroWorks and Salesforce for monitoring and evaluation. That is also really great. Bernard, if you're available, you can tell us a little about TaroWorks and Salesforce as well. And then Monday.com is also in the chat, which is also very good. Let me see whether we have some more. Yes, so we have BC Adebayo, who uses Zoom, Excel, Google Forms, Slack, Teams, Skype, WhatsApp, Box, and Google Drive. Yes, so all the tools that are showing here, and as you can see, they have been categorized. And so for Office tools, these are tools that you can use to create your documents. And you can see the main key players when it comes to that. That is Google and then Microsoft. So Google has Google Docs, Google Sheets, and then Slides and the rest. And then Microsoft also has Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and then Publisher. All of these are good in case you want to create a report, in case you want to create any document. Most of us are familiar with that. And then we have storage. And these days we are in the era of cloud storage and cloud computing. And so you can leverage these tools. Google Drive, you can also have Box, you can also have Dropbox, and then OneDrive. And these are the four that are listed here. There's also Amazon and then Linode and some other ones, but you can use these ones here just fine. And they actually have tools and incentives and packages for nonprofit organizations. So definitely it will help if you are using them. For communication, we have WhatsApp and Skype, and then Zoom that we are using for this particular meeting. And then we have Google Meet, GoToMeeting, and then Teams. And then for collaboration, we have Asana, we have Slack, we have G Suite, we have Office 365, Planner, and Microsoft Teams. You can see that there are a number of tools that are listed here. We know from the perspectives that were shared that Asana, to some extent, has a bit of everything that project management requires. And there are some too that handles only communication. There are some that can help you with storage. So really, which of them can you leverage? Which of them can you combine, for instance? And like I said, knowing what each of them does is usually the first step into getting the best out of them. So if you know that this particular one has or can help you achieve this task, and then you can go for it. And so we are going to look closely into some of them. We are going to start with Asana, and then we continue. And as I mentioned, we are going to also do a demo of how to manage a project using one of the tools. So when we get there, we are going to do that. So let me move on to Asana. Bernard, are you going to share before we go? Are you going to share with us TaroWorks and Salesforce? We are ready. Let me see whether I can share.
Yeah, hello?
Bernard.
Yeah, we use TaroWorks and Salesforce. It's mainly for data gathering and project monitoring. So just like somebody was talking about GPS being captured, the TaroWorks allows you to capture GPS. It allows you to capture, it gives you a survey that allows you to monitor your projects. So from the implementation and also supporting the evaluation. And for the Salesforce, it's even supporting fundraising, because then you can connect your donors and potential donors onto the site, that you can share videos, you can share pictures and reports with them. in real life sometimes.
Oh,
so that is the little I have to share.
Great, great. Thank you very much, Bernard, for sharing. And as I have mentioned, we are going to take a closer look at some of the tools that has been mentioned. So at this point, I would indulge all of us to pay attention to the tools, just know what they do, and then you can decide on which one will work for you. The tools that we are going to look at does not necessarily mean they are the best. It depends on what you are looking for and what can actually help you. So this is Asana, as has been mentioned by colleagues. Asana allows team members to collaborate in real time, regardless your location. So you can be assigned a task. You can be in Senegal. You can be assigned a task by a colleague who is working from Ghana, and you can communicate and collaborate on the same documents and the same tasks. And it ensures that everyone is on the same page. And this in turn will help to minimize communication and communication errors. It also provides a centralized location for all your tasks and projects so that you do not have to go and use another tool, to manage communication, for instance, and then come for another tool for your storage. It is a centralized system. It's an all-in-one or all-encompassing platform that can help you, to get almost everything with regards to project management done on one platform. And this will in turn help you to increase your productivity. In terms of task management, Asana offers features that can help you manage your tasks. And so some of these features are setting timelines, scheduling your work, setting calendars, creating task dependencies, and then allowing your team members to assign goals to their tasks, and then monitoring the goals to see as and when they are being done, tracking time that is being spent on projects, and also helping to foster accountability and build trust among team members. Asana also allows you to integrate other tools. But when it comes to project management, as we have seen, there are a number of tools that you can use to achieve different interventions or different tasks. And so you can, for instance, integrate Google Drive into Asana for your storage. You can integrate Microsoft Teams into Asana and vice versa. You can also integrate Slack, for instance, into Asana. So if you are on Asana, you do not only have to limit yourself into Asana alone. If you have a need to integrate other platforms, you can definitely do so through their integration APIs. Now, the next tool we are going to look at is Microsoft Projects. Microsoft Projects is also a very great tool. It provides a wide range of tools that can help you to plan your project. Some of these tools are conventional project management tools that we know of, like Gantt charts, for instance. It is one of the very few project management software that has the feature of Gantt charts. It also has calendars. It also allows you to allocate timelines and create a clear your project. It also has a way that you can visualize your tasks so that it is easy on the eyes, so that it's easy for you to, at a sneak peek, see progress and see reporting of various projects and ventures or interventions. Microsoft Project also allows you to manage your resources. It helps you to manage your project team. It helps you to manage your equipment and materials. So there is a place on Microsoft Team that you can actually enter, or that you can actually register the materials or the resources that you are using. Those that are measurable, you can indicate and then see as and when they are being used, as and when they are being exhausted, so that you would know when and where you would have to put more effort into. Microsoft Project also allows you to create a budget for your project. It has a budgeting feature that can help you to create that budget line or budget template for your project. And then you can register expenses, and you can be able to track the expenses against the budget that you have done. And so you do not have to move out of Microsoft Project to acquire a financial application. You can do everything on Microsoft Project. Microsoft Project also provides great reporting features that can help you to track your progress. You can also use that to identify issues and communicate directly with stakeholders. It's also great for collaboration. It allows you to collaborate in real time, just like Asana, regardless your location. And then it also has ability to integrate other applications or other project management tools that you would want to integrate. So that is Microsoft Project for us. And I know it was not part of the slide I showed earlier, but if there's anyone here that uses Microsoft Project, maybe you can tell us about your experience later. The next one that is also quite common is Trello. Let me go back to Trello. Yes, and Trello is basically a visual project management tool. Trello is a visual project management tool. It is based on a visual board, and so you are able to see, as you can see in the picture, it's very colorful. So you are able to see what you are doing, what you are left to do in a very graphical way. It also has metrics represented in bar charts, you know, and have this progressive loading bars and those kinds of features that will help you to visually appreciate your project. So if you are someone that is very visual or who likes aesthetics, then Trello definitely is for you. Trello also allows you to collaborate in real time. So you can identify or you can notice that most of these projects have similar features, but there is one thing that stands out of the many features or similar features that they have. So you can also collaborate with your team members in real time on Trello. And then for tax management, you have features that can help you to set your due dates, to create tax dependencies, and to organize and focus on your goals in Trello. So that is also similar to Project in a way. And then you can also automate your workflow. You can automate repetitive tasks, so you don't have to, you know, go and create them. So it helps you to reduce redundancy. Integration, common amongst all project management tools. You can integrate Trello with your Drive, with your Dropbox, with your Slack, for instance. And then Trello also comes in a mobile application so that you do not always have to access it on your computer. You can access Trello through your mobile application and get the information that you need, and also work on your project tasks as you need to. Now, the last thing we are looking at with regards to conventional project management software is Monday.com. Monday.com has a super or a highly customizable feature that allows you to, you know, sort of develop a platform for your project management that is going to suit your needs. So you're able to rearrange your dashboard, you're able to add features that do not exist regularly on a project management system. So you can do that with Monday.com. It also allows collaboration. It's also quite visual, as you can see, and allows integration. And then you can automate your processes. You can automate tasks that you would have done manually if you were using different tools to achieve the same, to achieve your project management goals. You can automate them on Monday.com. And just like Trello, it also has a mobile application that you can use. So these are 4 key project management and execution software that you can use. Some of them have communication embedded in them. Some have storage embedded in them, but the good thing is you can integrate them with your favorite communication tool. If that is Microsoft Teams, you can do that. If that is Zoom, you can do that. And then, of course, with your Drive, you can, with your storage, you can integrate them with Google Drive, with Dropbox, with Box, or with Microsoft OneDrive. So these 4 are there for our usage. Now, if you want to collaborate and communicate on your projects, as we know, communication is very important for our projects within or amongst project team members and with other stakeholders like our donors and vendors that we may have to engage. And the first thing that, the first tool that we can look at is Zoom. And as we are having this real-time communication or real-time collaboration on this application, I think that we all see the capabilities of it. It's one of the most common and popular tools that we use. And I may not have to spend a lot of time on that because we have been using it and we know it inside out. So Zoom is one very powerful communication channel that we can always use for our project communications. Now, one other channel, which happens to be my favorite, is Microsoft Teams, which has a lot of features embedded in it. And that is the one we are going to do a demo on. We are going to look at how we will manage a typical project using Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams brings every project management task or project management feature at one place for you. So you can have your storage, you can have management of resources, including your team members, you can have collaboration, you can also monitor your tasks and track them. You can also manage timelines on Microsoft Teams. You can communicate, whether it being text or call or video calling, either one. Microsoft Teams has the feature or the tool for you to use. Microsoft Teams can also be integrated with other tools such as Slack, such as Trello, such as Asana. And so you can have Microsoft Teams for that, as I've already mentioned, video conferencing, task management. And then one very important tool that with Microsoft Teams, you know that you can really be at peace is security. Microsoft has really placed some great deal of security on Microsoft Teams. And so it offers, the very basic 2-factor authentication, but your data is encrypted. So when you're having meetings and your data is being sent across networks, it is always encrypted. And you know that your project-related information is protected. So that is Microsoft Teams for us, and we'll be looking at that closely very soon. We also mentioned fundraising and donor management as some of the incentives that we need in the management of our projects. So we'll just look very quickly at some platforms that we can use to fundraise and also to manage our donors. And the first one is donorperfect.com. So you can go there and then see ways that you can raise funds for your project, for instance. And then the next one is bloomerang.co. It's also a good tool that you can use to raise funds for your projects. And so let's take note of these ones. You can visit them. There are quite a number of others too, like GoFundMe, that you can also visit. And then lastly, on the tools, we are going to look at volunteer management. We know that the typical way that we may, or most of us may be very familiar with in terms of getting volunteers is through portals like, for instance, LinkedIn, and if we receive volunteer requests or we receive volunteer applications from people. But there are platforms online that you can actually go and get people that are readily available to volunteer and help you achieve the goals of your project. So one of them is volunteerhub.com, and then the other is signupgenius.com, which you can visit to get hold of some volunteers, depending on what you need, depending on the expertise that you are looking at. So volunteerhub.com and signupgenius.com. So yes, these are some digital tools that we can always leverage on to manage our projects effectively. Now, I want us to go into our demo session to learn how we can use Microsoft Teams to manage a typical project, how we can set our project up, how we can, collaborate with our colleagues in real time, how we can manage some files and a host of others. So I'm going to open my demo screen now. Okay, so this is my Microsoft Teams environment. It has a whole lot of features that we can go through, but today we just want to look at how I can use my Microsoft Teams to manage a project. And so typically for acquiring Microsoft Teams for your organization, you would have a number of teams listed here. And these teams typically would be either a project team, either a department in your organization, or a unit in your organization. And so, for instance, this is an administration department. This is the M&E department. But over here is a tech team that wants to embark on a project. So I'm going to go directly into the tech team, which is shown here. And this is the tech team that is shown here. And this general here is what we call a channel. So this is a channel here. And what I'm going to do first is to create channels that are going to represent various steps or various activities for my project. So I'll click on this 3 dots here and then click on add channel. And then I'll give this channel a name, and I'll give this finance, or let me say budget. So this is where everything pertaining to budgets will sit. And so this is my general, this is my budget. And then let me add another channel here. And I will name this channel monitoring. And then I'm going to add it as well. Now, this particular tech team has members. So I'll click on this 3 dots and I'll click on manage team so that we can take a look at the members of the team. So yes, these are members of the team that are going to run the project that I intend to run. And so we are 4 in number here. And so I'll go back to my general channel, and into this space, you would see that the first tab that is highlighted is the post tab. And this is where I can have conversations with my team. So for instance, if I click on new conversation here and I say, hello, colleagues, and my colleagues are joined in real time, so I'm expecting them to answer. So I have sent a hello to them. And so my colleagues will be answering to me and we can begin a conversation right away. But even before they answer, let me try and see what else I can do. If I can add a file that okay, so Stella has just replied, Whitney has also replied. So I can go ahead and say, can we have updates on the DEN project, which is a code name I'm giving to this project. And so my colleagues can decide to answer depending on who has updates. And this conversation will be about updates on the DEN project. I can start another conversation totally different from this particular one and say, hi, this time I can target a particular colleague of mine. So I'll just do the @ sign and then I'll target Whitney alone and say, are you ready with the printouts, for instance, and this is targeted at Whitney alone. So this is a space that we can have conversations. You can see that colleagues are, giving reactions just to acknowledge receipt. So we can have everything with regards to communicating on the project in this post tab here. Now, the next tab that exists here is the Files tab, where we can post every file. So we do not need to integrate a Google Drive or a Microsoft OneDrive. We can upload all files that are related to the project here, and we can upload the files. We can upload a file or a folder or a template. So let me click on File, and great, I can just upload this particular file here. And once I do that, I can decide to share with my colleagues, even though they have access to it automatically because they are part of the team. But I can decide to share with them by clicking on copy link here. And then once the link is copied, I can go back to post. And then I have two conversations here. So I'll go to the first one, and then I'll do paste by right clicking. And you can see that the picture or the file that I just posted is here. And then I'll click on send, and my colleagues can have access to the file. Okay, so that is how you can, share files with regards to managing your projects on Microsoft Teams. Now, you are not only limited to your post and to your files. You can actually also add another tab. So you might be wondering, how do we track tags? How do we assign tags to colleagues, and how do we track them? Because we have not seen that yet. So you can come to this plus sign here, click on add a tab, and then the first hit that you are getting here is what? Tags by planner. And so we can select that, or we can use another one, which is also my favorite. So let me see whether I can get that. Okay. Okay, so we can go with tags by planner for now. And then we will look at how, okay, that is actually it, tags by planner and to do. And so I would have to give it a name. And so I can give it the name of project task. And then I can click on save. And one of the key elements of project management is assigning tasks and then monitoring the tasks as and when they are being completed. And so this is my project task environment. And so I already have what we call a bucket here that is named to do. And so this can, post tasks that are pending, tasks that needs to be done. I can also add a new task. For instance, if we are going to run tasks on a monthly basis, so I can say March 2023, if we are running the project for a year, for instance. So all tasks under March will be here. So I'm going to add one task here. And then I can say that prepare travel budget. And then I can set a due date to it. So let's say I need it by 23rd, and then I can assign colleagues to it. So in this case, let me assign Stella to it, and then I'll add tax. And you can see that the tax has been added here. And so I can come back to it, and then I can decide to add more information. And so, for instance, if it's already started, I can click on in progress, so that when colleagues come, they'll see that the task has already been started and is in progress, for instance. I can also give it a priority of urgent or important, so there's that flexibility for you. I can also add notes in case there is something that I need to add, so that when colleagues come, they can have access to it and see. I can add a file as an attachment. And then this particular task has been assigned to Stella, but in case I want to ask when will it be ready? So you can already see that this is making the process seamless, because you have your files here, you have your tax being created on the same platform. You can have conversations here as well, you know, and that makes it really, really exciting to manage your project. Now let's go back to files and let's look at one other thing there. So if I want to create a document, let's say an Excel sheet, I do not need to go and open Excel elsewhere. I can just come here and click new, and then I can click on Excel workbook, and then I can give it a name. So that budget that we were talking about, we might as well do it, even though we are in the general channel. We can do it in general and move it to finance or to the budget channel if we like. And so it's going to open Excel for me right inside Teams. And then I can begin to create my budget if I want. I can decide to create it using a template. You know, so let me go back and then try to create it using a template if I can get one. You know, so it makes it very, very simple for us if we are managing our projects, because you have everything all in one place. Your storage is here, creating your files, editing them is also here. So let me do this quickly. Yeah, so I mean, this is just to showcase how the process goes. So I have this few pieces of information here, and I can just close it. This saves automatically. I don't have to worry about going to save it. Anything that I type is saved automatically. So once I close it, it's going to be registered here. And as I mentioned, I'm working on it in the general channel. So I want to move it into the budget channel. So I'll come and click on the triple dots here, and then I'll click on move. When I click on move to, I will have the pop-up so that I can direct it. So I want to move it still in the tech team, and then I will come back here to the tech team. And then in channels, I'll come to budget, and then I can move it here. You realize that it's going to leave this place, so it's left. And then when I come to budget, I can find it in files. And then of course, I can copy the link and then alert colleagues that, hey, I have the budget ready for review. So you can view it. And that is it. Just by doing Control-V, I'm able to paste the budget for colleagues to review. And once they come here, if they have any tasks for me, they can simply create a new planner here and add, or they can come back to general, and then they go to project tasks, and then they can assign a task for me over here. And I can, you know, work on the task because it's been assigned to me. This has been assigned to Stella, but I can still come here. Now I can change and assign to Whitney. I can even take Stella out because Stella may have reached out to me that she may not be available. And so there's that flexibility for you, you know, to make changes here. You can see that the view here is showing a board. So you can also switch the view into a chart so that you have that graphical and visual interface to also look at. And then you can also change it into a list so that you have it also listed. And so you can definitely switch in and out of these views to just see. And there's the calendar view as well. So if you are running a project that is huge in nature, that you want to be able to see things, you know, on your screen like that, you can definitely do that. So yes, this is Microsoft Teams for us. And there are several ways to use Microsoft Teams. This is just for a very simple project management that you may find useful to use. And so that is that for us. I'll go back to my slides now. as we begin to wrap up, and then we look at some incentives, because now we have looked at a lot of tools. And so how do we as nonprofit get these tools? How do we get them? Where is the go-to place if you want to get these tools? And there are so many places. I mean, there's a place that you can get so many of these tools. And so we'll be looking at them pretty shortly. But for now, we would like to put a hold on it, and then we take some questions, contributions from us. So if you have any questions, if you have any contributions that you would like to make, you can kindly show by hand, and then we will unmute you. In the meantime, I do hope we have all filled the participation form. As I mentioned, we want to share the recording of this session, and also some tech incentives that we do have or that we come across every now and then with you. So the form is in the chat right now, and there's a link there. You can click on it and fill for us. And so thank you all so much. If you have any questions and contributions. Okay, I see Musa from Global Youth Network. So Musa, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you so much. This is actually a very educative session, and I really appreciate you for inviting us to be part of it. And it's most timely for us because we are at the process of rebranding our organization, and these are the things we've been looking for. Of course, for the past 2 or 3 weeks, I've been engaged looking for tools online, and I can remember we needed a HR tool in order to manage our human resource. So we were able to locate one, which was a kind of software operated by one company in the UK. And that company was asking us to pay at least a minimum of £5 a month per staff. And you know what that means? To be in Africa, we can't afford it. So really sharing these tools, it's like we never knew about them, not knowing that we have access to them, but we don't even explore to use them. So for me, I'm really appreciative, and thanks so much for this. I think it's really impactful. And honestly, I'll tell you for sure that I will replicate this knowledge, because we are in Sierra Leone. We work with a lot of younger organizations that needs access to these tools in order for us to meet donor requirements, etc., etc. So I would like, maybe I joined the meeting a little late. So I would like to ask if it's possible for you to share the presentation. That is one. 2, I wanted to ask if there are tools for HR, that HR and procurement and maybe administration and finance, because for us, we are really trying to run our operations paperless. We want to see if we can automate.
Oh, it seems. Musa, are you there? It seems we lost Musa. It seems we lost Musa. Bless, could you moderate the questions for us? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Kwame Asante. And I believe that we have really learned a lot. This has been very, very insightful. We have some questions. If you are not feeling okay speaking to us on camera about your questions, you can drop your questions in your chat, and we would read them out to our facilitator, who would address them accordingly. But we can have Peace. Peace, can you go on with your question?
Okay, I just want to thank Asante for that wonderful presentation. My question is for all of the tech that he has mentioned, which is more suitable to use apart from that, the team, because team, I thought it's only for meeting. And I don't know if Asana, is it free or you pay for it? And then which of it, maybe the team or Asana would be more preferable for an M&E person to use in terms of analysis and project management and reporting? Thank you.
Thank you very much, please. Mr. Kwame Asante, do you want me to add one more so you address them?
Yes, you can.
Okay, Mohammed, you have your hand up. Kindly let's question. Please let's hear your question. Hello, Mohammed. Okay, I think Mohammed is not ready. I see another Mohammed Jackson Inusa. Please let's hear your question. Mohammed Inusa. Okay, you are muted, please. All right, it seems Mohammed is also not ready. Mohammed, are you ready? Okay.
I'm ready now. I was fine.
Okay, kindly go on. You're muted again. All right, whilst you work.
Thank you very much, Mr. Asante, for the presentation. It has been very lively and interesting. I, in particular, have learned a lot. My question is regards to the Microsoft Teams that you just took us through. Does it require some licensing or registration to have access to all the features that you just took us through? That's what I want to find out. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mohammed. Mohammed, can I add one more?
Yes, you can.
All right, Haruna. Haruna, the floor is yours. Let's hear your question, please. Okay, Felix Owaka, kindly go ahead with your question.
Thank you so much. I want to appreciate you so much for the wonderful presentation. Now, on the team, my question is, how do you download information from it so that maybe after that good work, maybe you need to showcase whatever you've done? I think that part I've not understood better or have not been addressed.
Right, thank you so much. So Kwame will take the questions one by one, and we'll come back to those who have raised their hands. Please, if you have already asked your question, kindly put your hand down so we can identify those who are yet to ask their questions. Thank you. Mr. Kwame, over to you. Do you want me to repeat the questions or you're fine?
Yeah, I think I got them. So thank you. Okay. The first question on Teams and Asana, which of them would I most likely recommend? I had already mentioned that each of the applications that we are looking at have their features that may be good for you, but may not be good for another person. But from what we have learned, Asana is a dedicated project management application or a software. It may have the ability to integrate Google Drive, for instance, for storage. It may also have the ability to integrate Microsoft Teams and Zoom for video conferencing, for instance. And so if you are looking for an application that has video conferencing in it, then you may opt for Microsoft Teams, where you can have your meetings. You can also have a place for storage, and you can also have a place to manage your resources at the same time. If you are looking to have your communications outside of your project management software, then Asana can be good for you. And so you can have Asana, to manage your projects using all the project management tools, and then you can use like a Zoom or a Microsoft Teams for your communication. That is also totally fine. I know that question was in twofold. Which of them particularly is good for monitoring and evaluation, and also whether there are licenses available for nonprofits. So I'll come to that pretty shortly. And the second question was also asking whether you can get Teams through acquisition of a license. And yes, so I'll add that to the first question, that yes, there is a place, and we will come to that, that you can get as a nonprofit, you can get access to Microsoft Teams as part of a Microsoft 365 package. So I'll be visiting that pretty shortly after the Q&A. So please stay tuned so that you will get that piece of information and know how to get it as a nonprofit organization. And then on the last question on how to download information, if it is from Teams, yes, that is very possible. And so where we created the files, or the place that we store the files, you can click on the particular file here, and then you download it. If I have your question right, then that is it. But if your question was also related to how you can get access to the information here, the slides and then the recording, then we are going to share that with you after the webinar. So yes, that is it. On the license, questions on the license, I will answer all of them and show the place where we can get them pretty later. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Kwame. We have a couple of hands up. Emily, if you are ready with your question, can we hear you?
Yes, good afternoon. And I also want to thank the facilitator for this wonderful presentation. I especially learned a lot from it. And the question I wanted to ask also is what my brother asked concerning the Lexing, because most tools when we want to download it, they are asking for Lexing and we don't know how to go through and how really to get to it. That's one. And secondly, these tools, some of the tools we're going to put them to practice. And while practicing, in case we are stuck somewhere, how do we get back to you that you can really explain to us? I know you will send the training information or the recording. Well, in practicing, there are somewhere sometimes we get stuck. So how do we get to you? That's my question. That's I don't know into 1 hour.
Okay, thank you so much, Emily, for your question. I believe Kwame would tackle that shortly. Gabriel, can we please hear your question? Hello, Gabriel. Okay, if Gabriel is not ready, Adamu Gambo.
All right, thank you very much. I want to thank the facilitator and the organizer of this great event, particularly from my own end. I'm very happy. I'm much grateful to attend this program. Indeed, it helped me a lot and it will help me in the later day. So my concern is, as I work with an international organization before, just recently my contract or the funding has stopped. And actually, I know Microsoft Team, you need to have an account, organizational account, because it's something that normally people pay before the service so that you have full access to Microsoft Team. So I don't know for this, even if you are not engaged with any international organization, can you be able to have it so that you can continue running it in your own company or any establishment that can ease some of the difficulties? And secondly, I missed some of the important aspect, particularly how can we get the recording so that we can go through and it will help us on daily basis so that we can catch up with the knowledge today shared. Thank you, over.
All right, thank you very much, Damu, for the question. I can take the second part of the question. So you would see a participation form that has been dropped in the chat box. Kindly fill in with your details, the recordings, and then other documents would be shared with you accordingly, so that in case you have missed any part of this session, you'd be able to catch up. I hope that answers your question. Kwame, over to you. Let me just take one more from Project Africa, so that you can just tackle all three. Thank you. Project Africa, please ask your question.
Hello. Hello?
Hi. Hi, I can hear
Yeah.
you.
Okay, correct. Like, first of all, I want to say a very big thanks to Mr. Kwame for enlightening us on this digital tools. Because as for me to be precise, some of these tools, today is my very first day of hearing about them and knowing about them as well. Today is my very first day, and I'm really, really grateful. And I think this session helps me a lot. And I've learned a lot of things, and that will boost my organization to be precise. As for me, I'm a founder of a nonprofit organization called Project Africa. So just an emphasis, I want to ask, how can we have these tools? And are they having free license or they are paid? They are paid for. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Project Africa. Kwame, over to you.
Yes, Bless, thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes, so I think most of the questions are also quite related. The first one was, yes, on the license, and also how she can get support in case she needs advice, technical support, when she is trying to use these tools. And that is also part of the next piece of information I'm going to share. And then the next two questions was also related to license. The second one said, without working with international organizations, can you have access to Teams? Yes, you can. But in order for you to enjoy the incentives that are available for nonprofit, you need to be a nonprofit organization. But you can have Teams as an individual, So there is Teams for work, and then there is Teams personal. So you can have either of them. Teams for work means you are using it as an organization, and then you can have it on a personal level as well. Yes. Thank you. So we can take maybe the last two hands that are raised so that we can conclude on the session. Thank you.
I want to go back to Gabriel. Gabriel, are you ready to ask your question now?
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity given to me to quickly say one or two things. Actually, we are using Asana in my organization. We are here in Nigeria, and it's working for us. And we have also introduced it to some couple of other NGO. They are also using it. It's a very, very good tool. The only thing I just want to seek some clarification is the aspect, because I know that you guys donated and you gave us some packages, such as this Microsoft 360. And I think this is the first time I'm saying that you can also use it as for project management as well. So I'll be very glad if at the end of this meeting, I can this video can be shared so that we can have it and have a kind of refresher to refresh one's memory, so that I can also see how we can make use of these in my own organization. So that's just the question I want to ask, because I'm not too clear on the aspect of you adding tax, because as we are working on it, I was also trying to do that from on my own side here, but I think I didn't get it well. So, but I would really appreciate if I can, have a kind of video to help me further, understand this. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you very much, Gabriel. So like we said at the beginning, if you joined late, kindly look out for the participation form, fill in with your details. We'll share the recordings with you, as well as any other documents that has to do with this webinar or other documentations as well. So Kwame, there's also another question in the chat box. It's from Sandra. She's asking if there are some available project financial management tools. If there are, kindly share with her. And then lastly, someone is asking, Bees from Development Ghana is asking if it is true that NGOs can get Zoom Pro for free. So over to you, Kwame.
Yes, thank you very much on that. Yes, Zoom is not absolutely free on TechSoup. I think there has been an answer provided in the chat, but just to reiterate, Zoom is not free. You will pay as little as $18 and you get a 50% discount on any package that you are paying on Zoom. So if your regular package on Zoom is going to cost you $2,000, just by paying $18 on TechSoup, you get a 50% off. And then that means you are going to pay $1,000 instead of $2,000. So that is how Zoom works. I believe that is clear. And so, yes, going into the next phase where we talk about how to get access to all the tools that we have mentioned, and then some of the concerns about how you can get help or support in case you are using these tools or you are trying to even get to know more of these tools. And I have a few links here that I would want to talk about, and then we will share them with you. So the first link here is the TechSoup products catalog, the TechSoup's product catalog. And so just to put it in context, TechSoup West Africa is a non-profit organization that is dedicated to providing technology tools and services, or technology products and services, to all non-profit organizations in West Africa. We form part of a global organization. And so we have different partners across different regions. I know we had a participant from Kenya. So in Kenya, there is TechSoup East Africa as well, or TechSoup Kenya. And so if you are in West Africa, you can come to us. We can provide to you some of the products that are available in our product catalog. And we have quite a wide range of products. We have products from Microsoft, we have products from Google, products from Bitdefender, even products from Asana, for instance, and a whole host of others. So this is the link to access our catalog. It is westafrica.techsoup.global. When you go there, you select your country, and then you click on catalog. You can see all the products that we have there, and you can request for the ones that you may need. But before you do that, you would have to register with us. The registration is not only so that you benefit from our products, but day in, day out, just like our participant from Nigeria said, he received some technology tools from us through a project. We were able to donate some products to this organization, and with time, we are able to do that for other organizations. So if you are registered with us, you may be able to benefit from that kind of incentive as well. So you can visit this platform and explore it. Now, if you explore this platform and you have questions for us, you want to get in touch, you can also visit the next platform here, which is TechSoupWestAfrica.org, where we have a form that you can fill in case you need support from us. In case you have any questions that you would want to ask us, you can visit this platform and fill. Now, this platform also doubles as a platform where you can request for services. So we are not only providing you with technology products, we also are helping you to build your website, to set up your cloud computing platforms, and to also to train you in some aspects of technology, such as digital security, digital literacy, digital activism, and what have you. So you can go to this platform and look at the services that we provide, and you can also request for them there. Now, the next one is on courses, because there is a huge gap when it comes to technology skills and knowledge in our region. We have put together some courses, on some technological skills that we feel are very essential and at the same time basic for organizations and individuals to know. So you can visit our platform that hosts our technology courses. Some of the tools that we have mentioned here, like Planner, like Teams, you can have a course there that you can take. to understand or to know more about how to use some of them. So you can visit this particular platform, and then you have access to these tools. And then lastly, with the rising, state of cyber incidents across the world, and even more dangerously in our region, we have seen a need to come up also with this kind of platform that has tools and that has resources that can help you on your digital resilience journey. And so you can have articles and courses on digital security that can help you as an organization to help you to stay resilient and to stay safe in this era. So these are platforms that you can always visit and explore some of the tools and some of the services that we have. So yes, with the questions that were coming in, these are the answers to them. You can explore them. I will be sharing this in the chat even before we share the slides with you so that you can visit them right away. And so in just a second, I'm doing that now. Yes, and so that is that. And I will hand over to Bless to sign us off. And I'll add my last words to it before we go. So Bless, over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Kwame. It seems we do not have any more questions. And like we have mentioned so many times, if you just joined, please just watch out or just look out for the participation form in the chat box. Fill out your details. We would send the recordings to you. We will send documentations in regards to this webinar and other associated documents to you so that you can always refer to these documents. Kwame, would you want to take your last words before I sign out?
Yes. So just to thank everyone, for making time to join us once again. It's always great having everyone, each and every one of you here, just so we discuss and share ideas and knowledge. We all know that technology has come to stay, and we are really trying our best to make use of it, to get the best out of it. And so it's always great that in our efforts to ensure that all of us are equipped with the requisite skill and knowledge to use technology, you are joining us to make this dream a reality. And so we just want to thank you and also to encourage you to keep spreading the word to colleagues and to your partners, so that they can also get in touch. Our doors are always open for you. And so if you have any need for any technology tool, if it's just even advice, you can always reach out to TechSoup West Africa and to the West Africa Civil Society Institute, and we will be happy to listen to you. So thank you once again for joining, and we shall meet again soon. So Bless, over to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Kwame. We would also want to appreciate you for a very good job done. We are so grateful. And also, please kindly check the chat box. We have a feedback form. Kindly take a minute or two and just fill out the feedback form for us. We'll be very grateful and we'll be very glad to hear from you what your thoughts are concerning this webinar. Thank you so much. If you have any questions later on, you can always reach out to us, like Kwame said. We are so grateful to you, and we'll see you some other time. Thank you, and then enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Now my chest is dirty as yours. I still have the evidence, so it's in a very good position to negotiate. So you want to deal? You deal with me. And there's a time.
The West Africa Civil Society Institute, WASI, was established by the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, OSIWA, in 2005 to reinforce the capacities of civil society in the sub-region. WASI's Raising the Chair is enabling a robust, resilient, and influential civil society in West Africa that contributes effectively to achieving sustainable development.
There was a need across the West African region. Civil society organizations tend to have some very weak capacity, particularly in resource mobilization, in program implementation, even in advocacy. And there was a need for a platform, a system, and WASSCE became that system.
While West Africa's flourishing civil society has had a direct impact on the growing rate of development in the region, the scarcity of skill sets at its institutional, operational, and individual levels continue to reduce their impact and ability to optimally galvanize the much-needed development in the region. The Institute has equipped 8,899 participants from 5,452 civil society organizations from 97 countries in the area of skills and capacity building.
WASSCE does a great job of building the capacity of civil society organizations for networking, for alliance building, for coalition building, for advocacy and lobbying.
One thing that is clear is the kind of niche that WASSCE has carved for itself. Because of the movement of the civil society institutions from an activist-based organizations to professional institutions, we've had this gap between and within several civil society organizations. And I think that's what WASSCE has been able to do.
We have been able to connect with other institutions that we wouldn't have been able to work with if it had not been for the WASSCE platform.
Our own organization has been impacted by a lot of the trainings that WASSCE has held.
Capacity strengthening has been identified as a key factor in the achievement of the United Nations Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals of stimulating the healthy growth of civil societies and their ability to withstand threats from unpredictable governance and instability in the region. To key into the attainment of this strategic goal, WASSCE designs and delivers customized training and technical assistance programs that respond to performance gaps within civil society sector at the local, national, and regional levels.
We are together here in Pole with WASSCE, going through a training, basically capacity building support for us as an organization. We've grown to a point we think we need to put in place systems and structures to help us transition to be a more sustainable organization.
Over the past 12 years, WASSCE has contributed to improve SEALDEP. It is because of you that we exist in a rural community. End quote. Moses Dramani, CEO of SEALDEP in Tumu, Ghana. The resource mobilization workshop that we did in 2011 capacitated SEALDEP to put in the appropriate structures and acquire the necessary software resources that we need.
Although we've done some budgetings before, but these have given us, an idea as to how correctly we should, do the budgeting. My perception before this training and after it started was wrong, because I was expecting the same thing, but unfortunately I was wrong on that area. One, it is practical and interactive. So, like normally in other workshops, you normally sit, listen to facilitators, they tell you everything. But here, you have to stand up sometimes, you have to explain, you have to demonstrate.
Apart from addressing the demand side of governance through its strengthening of